Most people believe they are in control of their lives. They believe their decisions are logical, conscious, and intentional. But what if that isn't true? What if most of your choices are made long before you're even aware of them? What if your mind quietly pushes you in certain directions without asking for permission? Today, we're going to talk about how human psychology secretly controls your life. Not in theory, not in textbooks, but in ways you experience every single day. Part 1. The illusion of control. You feel like you decide what to do. But neuroscience tells a different story. Studies show that your brain makes decisions hundreds of milliseconds before you consciously realize them. By the time you think, "I chose this," the decision has already been made. Your consciousness isn't the driver, it's the narrator. It explains decisions after they happen, to make you feel in control. That's the illusion. And the brain is very good at protecting it. Part 2. Why the brain hates silence. Silence makes many people uncomfortable, not because silence is dangerous, but because it removes distraction. When there's no noise, no phone, no scrolling, the mind turns inward, and most people are not comfortable with their own thoughts. That's why boredom feels painful. That's why people constantly reach for their phones. That's why background noise feels calming. Your brain prefers stimulation over introspection, even meaningless stimulation. Because facing your thoughts requires emotional effort. Part 3. Emotion always beats logic. We like to believe we are rational beings, but psychology proves otherwise. Emotion always comes first. Logic comes later to justify the emotion. This is why people defend beliefs even when facts contradict them. Why arguments rarely change minds. Why advertising works. People don't respond to truth. They respond to how something makes them feel. Logic explains. Emotion decides. Part 4. Familiar pain feels safe. One of the darkest truths of human behavior is this. The brain confuses familiar pain with safety. That's why people stay in toxic relationships, why they repeat the same mistakes, why they return to situations that hurt them. Unknown pain feels dangerous, known pain feels predictable, and the brain values predictability more than happiness. Comfort is not the absence of pain, it's the absence of surprise. Part 5. Social belonging controls behavior. Humans are social creatures. Our brains evolved to survive in groups. Rejection once meant death, and your brain still reacts as if it does. That's why social rejection activates the same areas of the brain as physical pain. That's why words can hurt more than actions. That's why being ignored feels unbearable. Belonging isn't a preference. It's a psychological need. Part 6. The herd effect. Most people believe they think independently. In reality, human behavior is highly contagious. We copy opinions, behaviors, emotions, and even beliefs, often without realizing it. Trends spread because imitation feels safe. Standing alone feels risky. The brain asks one question first. What is everyone else doing? Only after that does logic step in. Part 7. The power of silence. Silence is one of the most powerful psychological tools. In conversation, silence creates tension. It forces the other person to fill the gap. This is why silence often feels uncomfortable, especially for those who feel insecure. The brain rushes to restore balance. Silence doesn't communicate weakness. It communicates control. Part 8. Memory is not accurate. Your memories feel real, but they are not recordings. Every time you remember something, your brain reconstructs it, and each reconstruction slightly changes it. Memory is influenced by emotion, belief, and time. That's why two people remember the same event differently. Your mind doesn't preserve truth. It preserves meaning. Part 9. Awareness changes everything. Understanding psychology doesn't make you manipulative. It makes you aware. Awareness gives you space between impulse and action, between emotion and reaction. When you understand your mind, it loses some of its control over you. You stop reacting automatically. You start choosing intentionally. Your mind controls more than you realize. But it doesn't have to control you forever. Once you understand how human psychology works, you stop being a passenger and start becoming the observer. Subscribe to Lyra Facts for more truths about how humans really work.